tip.
Good afternoon. It is May 13th, 2025. You're listening to a little column A, a little column B, hosted by Will Lemos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? Disaster. It is disaster. In the past 6 weeks, basketball has just absolutely taken a shovel to my head repeatedly. We just got news before the podcast. It was pretty well known last night. Celtics lose, go down 3-1 to the Knicks. And to top it all off, Jayson Tatum ruptures his Achilles in a move that I don't think I've seen before. Is the news isn't confirmed until he's actually already had the surgery. I don't know really what to make of that. Like I said, this news just came out right before. We saw this with Dame. We've seen this from several players recently. And last night, non-contact, goes down immediately. You could see he was reaching for his ankle, so it was all leading that way. But is it any news that, good or bad, that he's already gotten the surgery out of the way?
Sometimes they want second opinions. Sometimes second opinions are needed. This could have been a possibility where maybe it was so severe that they had to do surgery. Like, some people are able to walk with a partial tear. They can't play basketball, but even Kobe was able to shoot some free throws and limp off the court. This was not that situation at all. Perhaps this was so severe that they had to do surgery if he just wanted to get back to functioning as soon as possible, let alone playing basketball. So I suppose for us, though, this is the best case scenario of the worst case scenario, is that he's already got the surgery. We're not waiting on that. The road to recovery has begun.
It's already started, which is sometimes, and you mentioned, second opinion. You have the player versus, I'm sure, the team, and there are other factors, but can sometimes be frustrated as a fan. And it's much more of it is just a complete fan frustration of, oh no, this is impacting my life, where someone is going to be impacted on a minute to minute basis. Like, he didn't sleep last night. Like, I'm sure they gave him some nice painkillers, but he goes to turn over and there's pain, and just all of the just emotions are just right there. But as a fan of, well, he tore his ACL. Well, why hasn't he got surgery yet? Like, it's been 2 weeks. What are we waiting for? So I don't know what surgeon we were able to go to that's able to do things so quickly. He must be really good. But it didn't impact the outcome of last night's game, or at least I don't think it did. Down by 7. I was definitely getting to the point where earlier in the fourth was, okay, we just got to string some stops together. Like, we can do this. We're down, but we're in control. We were hitting the point of, we need a miracle. We need some of these deep Tatum threes to hit. We're going to need a Drew turnover, but this is turning into miracle territory. And then it just absolutely goes the opposite way. I can't think of, and it was more for me personally, but it was just one season, 6 weeks ago, we're doing a podcast of Duke's going to the Final Four, to the next podcast we're doing is just disaster. The national championship is over. But I can't think of a bigger swing, especially for us, as personal fans, from last podcast where we are previewing round 2. You said a sweep. I said we're going to mess up 1. We're going to win in 5. Not scared of the Knicks at all. We beat them 4 times in the regular season. To, we were down 3-1 to the Knicks. Tatum has ruptured his Achilles, needs surgery. This isn't, he'll be back by Christmas. He's probably not playing next year. He's on the younger side. I think that he will come back and play basketball. I think he will be Jayson Tatum again. But this is a multi-year plan, and this window for this team was very small. It's very expensive. We have new owners coming in. They already have the new owner syndrome. They're just waiting to make a decision. I feel like this should push them in that direction. Can you think of any other, basically 1 week span? We delayed it one day because we had the game last night and the lottery, so we could talk about that. But is there anything close to this?
Close to it? No, but I do think we're being naive to think that this wasn't a possibility, that this team wasn't going to be the same next year. The only thing that was going to keep it together was a proven success path. And the problem is, even if we get through this series, even if we were to go 7 against the Knicks, which I think if Tatum is healthy, we would have a good shot. I don't know if we would win, But I think we still have a good chance of winning the next 3 games if he was healthy. But he's just not going to be. There's nothing we can do about that. But now that we've seen some really ugly flaws of this team once again and again, the only consistency of all this is that it's Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown constantly not being able to close out a game. There's millions of frustrating things about this game beyond just the injury, but just to kind of cap off the injury here, maybe these are the changes that needed to happen anyways. I mean, the worst part about all this is the contracts that we're remaining with, that we don't have Jayson Tatum out there with, and that we're forced to pay everyone else because they're guaranteed a lot of money. I don't know what sort of value they have after the performances of the supporting cast, and Tatum might be the best thing that we are actually guaranteed to have in a couple of years. So I'm more worried about what we're stuck with than losing him. I think he'll be fine. Already getting the surgery, I think, should be encouraging that he's trying to recover as fast as possible. And he's still young. I think the Kevin Durant injury recently should be encouraging because Durant is way older than the age that Tatum's getting it, and that there is a frequency of this injury now that maybe they've kind of figured this out. The ACL thing isn't entirely a sure thing, but it is a lot closer to a sure thing than it was, 5-10 years ago? That was like, I don't know if they're ever going to play again. I don't get that feeling with an ACL anymore, and perhaps we've reached that point with an Achilles. Do you think there's any chance of that? That we could be routine about this in any way?
I mentioned, like I said, I think it can come back. I think it's less occurring than the ACL, but I'm not even really sure about that. And I don't know if that's a cross court or not cross court, cross sport comparison. And the ACL injuries are definitely getting faster. I think a lot of it is comfort. I think it helps that Tatum's game is not all explosiveness. He's not. I wouldn't put him in the Derrick Rose, John Morant. If you don't have that fast twitch, got to get first step past a guy. But it changes. It changes so many things. Just this year, we were the favorites pretty much the entire season. If not all outright, tied. I don't think OKC was ahead of us for very much. To like what happens with this, like the whole franchise, and you mentioned it. All right, the guys around him. What happens? And I don't even know at this point what I want to happen. It's all so quickly. We've played without Tatum for small stretches. He plays pretty much every game. You can't get him out. But
let's talk about
right now. Yeah, the game was not good either. It was the same thing as game 1 and game 2, and I mean really for a good chunk of game 3. First 3 quarters, and this one happened a little sooner, but first part of the game, Celtics look awesome, 14-point lead, and then here come the Knicks, and it just, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Throughout the whole season, this was not a problem. It had been a problem in years past, but it just is like this avalanche, and especially down the stretch of this game. I mean, Tatum's got 40-plus points when he gets hurt, but even right before that, he was just starting to just jack up some shots where when we were running the offense in the first half, it was working. And it seemed like it got to, again, this spot of, what are we going to do? Okay, Jayson Tatum's the only one. We're going to pass it to him, and everyone's just going to watch him and see what he can do. Which Jayson Tatum is awesome and is able to do some stuff, but we as a collective team the whole year, last year, like we proved, we're even better if we run the offense. And it was, we weren't scoring as well as, not only were we not getting stops, and I messaged you, there was a point where I didn't even think we could get the stops. Like, we have guys out there. We have Drew Holiday out there, who's been a great defender for a long time, could not stay in front of Brunson, could not slow him down. We have size, and Bridges was hitting every single mid-range jumper. It's just like the fourth quarter hits, and all of a sudden he's ready to go. Okay, let me just hit all of these. So, like I said, I don't blame the loss on the Tatum injury. I think it was already over by then. But I think the Tatum thing is going to overshadow that. I'll just be thinking forever, just like how last podcast of. I still don't get, like, how is this team beating us? I don't get it.
I'll tell you how. We're the most versatile team ever created that chose to not take advantage of any of the versatility. We're the most analytic, stubborn team And then you know what the worst part about this is? We didn't even take more shots than the other team. We didn't even do that right. This idea that if we take more threes, make more threes with the better percentages on the better shooters, that it all just even out at the end. We'll just inch away. We're really smart. We're smarter than the other team. We didn't even take more shots than the other team. So we didn't even pull off the strategy of which our offense was blown up in the second half, as you said. We just give up moving the ball. We give up making them have to play defense. The first half, when the ball was moving, I was like, there's nothing they can do about any of these shots. They can only hope that we miss. And there are games that we have missed. The defense on the other end of not being able to slow down Brunson, I think we've done an excellent job on Brunson up to yesterday. He's too good of a player to not have a game like he had yesterday. It was bound to happen. The punishing part about this is I think we did a really good job on him most of the time for games 1, 2, and 3. And those two didn't go our way. So like we did all of the work for no reward. The unforgiving losses just added up now that we were down 3-1 and probably won 3 out of these 4 games. Last night was the only one I really feel like we truly lost. There's no way to feel better about just blowing it. I can't explain how it just turns off on this team. I don't blame Joe Mazzulla. I don't blame Joe at all. It's the same guys out there. I mean, you could have put other guys out there and it didn't matter. I feel like we closed with different guys here and there, and it was a different problem every single time of somebody just not knowing what to do with it and just chucking up a shot and trying to find Karl-Anthony Towns and trap him into something silly when it was a trap for us the whole time of like, maybe we should move the ball. We failed Derek White. We failed him. He should be demanding for a trade. This guy is supposed to be the best role player in the league here. You can pick him on defense for whatever reasons this series, but he's not supposed to be creating offense. And if we don't take advantage of spot up shooting, when he starts 4 for 4 and we can't get him the ball back because neither of these guys are interested in passing, Jaylen had his worst game I've ever seen, while Tatum had his best half I think I've ever seen. The defense,
on offense and defense.
The defense of Tatum was fantastic, like just awesome in the first half. I think it's his best defensive performance I've ever seen. The passing lanes, stealing the ball. He's done that before. I'm sure he's done that even as far as Duke. But yesterday, it seemed like he was really saying, I'm going to affect this play on this end, and I'm going to affect this play on that end, and you're just going to be running into me regardless. Like, you got to go through me if you want to win today, and it was awesome. It sucks that that's gone. It sucks.
I mean, it even just like the pointy end of this was when Tatum got hurt, it was Jaylen Brown turning the ball over and Tatum trying to get in the trying to get the ball back. So I'm not saying, oh, this is Jaylen Brown's fault, but it's just like
the losses
all the way across. Is there any way that we could just chalk all of this up to injuries?
No,
just the whole team.
No.
Hey, this isn't working because of injuries. Tatum before this, sits out a game, which he never sits out games because of falling on the wrist. Fell on the wrist again yesterday. Was able to stay in. Jaylen Brown's having the knee problems the whole second half of this year. Porzingis, whatever sickness he's got, I don't think that he's this bad of a player. I don't think the Knicks were doing something specific because we saw in the regular season against the Knicks, we were able to pick them apart. And Drew Holiday. I mean, Drew Holiday's on the older side, so he might put more in the category of this is just what you're going to get out of him. But he sat out a couple of games in the last series, which is not that long ago. So if they're just hey, guys were banged up, and this is what happens sometimes. Obviously everyone's banged up, but there's just certain levels, and you're just not able to play to 100%. And then this is what happens when you just reach critical mass.
The mistakes that we had and made and continue to make are not physical disabilities. They're mental errors. They're unforced.
I don't know how you
turnovers.
can keep saying continued. We won the championship last year, and the year before was a different group.
How different though, and how similar is it? It's the exact same thing, and it's 2 of our best guys then and 2 of our best guys now. It's easily a pattern. I don't see how it's unrelated.
I don't see it as the same thing, especially with there are major pieces here that are different. And when we lost to the Heat, it seemed like it was a fluke. They had guys from 3. There was certain ways that they were playing. And like the support guys, like they've been scattered to the wind and they've never shot like that ever again, except for that one series where this doesn't feel like a fluke. This has been a repeated just over and over again. And I don't know, maybe I'm just not smart enough to notice that, oh, Tibbs is doing this. It just seems like we're getting tired, and maybe this is going to, hey, the Knicks are playing every game and playing crazy minutes, and they're better condition. It seems too simple. I don't really think I believe that, but I'm grasping at straws here.
The Celtics just have all of the wrong characteristics of confidence. They don't have the closer confidence, but they have the superstar, the first half, the Superman commercial, all that kind of confidence they got. It's just not till the end, and something happens. They're not together, and they forget to be together. They forget to pass the ball. They get nervous on defense. We start walking up the court. There's only 8 fast break points both ways yesterday, so both teams either did a really good job defending it or just weren't able to get the opportunity. I don't know what that means, but I was hoping we would get more fast break points because it's so punishing to watch us play half court at the end of the game. Like, that's what we have to do. We have to find a way to not have to do that play that we've just kept doing over and over again at the top, over and over again anymore. Just do anything else. Before the injury, this is out of a timeout that Jaylen bobbles the ball. Like, it's over and over again with the Jaylen turnovers. They're all so unforced too. We all just let it happen. He's so bad at just being a spot up shooter. He can't just go sit in the corner and make a jump shot. He's got to get the ball, drive, make the hardest shot in the world, and then complain for a foul after he misses every single time. Doesn't get back on defense. Like, there's so many errors. I don't even know how to add up. I feel so bad for that Tatum's injured and that White just got screwed off a really good game. White could have had 40 points yesterday if we had any interest in feeding the hot hand. I don't blame Missoula though. Would you agree with that part? I mean, I blame all of the players. I blame not having one reliable big man on this team is a really big problem. We don't have Porzingis. We don't have Horford. Cornette plays 8 minutes, has 0, 0, and 0. Why would you have tried somebody else, or is this just maybe we get a big guy next year that we can trust in the playoffs and this is all fixed?
No, there's nobody. There's nobody. This is the team unless there major changes are made. We're past the second apron. There's no big guy that you bring in that actually is going to make a difference. Like this is it.
I think a couple more rebounds, and this is a different scenario. We got a good rebounding game out of Tatum too. Like, we needed it, and it still wasn't enough. All right, we got to give the Knicks a little bit of credit because we're just going to keep whining about the Celtics. The Knicks play a great game of basketball. If you're a fan of basketball, there's nothing to dislike about any of this. They play like it's their last game. They're an underdog heart. I like all of this. It just kills me that it's happening to the Celtics, but they are a good basketball team. They are a fun team to watch. Bridges was hot in that fourth quarter and was hitting those fadeaways that I don't know what you're supposed to do. OG has changed our defense on the defensive end, has changed our offense so much that we don't even dribble to him. He just gets to take defense off now. He doesn't do anything anymore. We just send him to the corner and pray that we don't ever have to interact with him again. Cat falls into every single trap. I don't know what else to say for that. They won in spite of Cat still. Like, that's crazy to me that he everything you were hoping for Cat to do wrong went our Celtics way, and they still won, Zach. They still won. What was your...
I don't know why they just didn't give him the ball in the post and force us to double team or to do something. Anytime he took any other shot, it was like, sweet, let us off the hook.
Any thoughts on the Knicks? On anything they did right?
Nope.
Nope, nothing. No love for Brunson. Great clutch shots.
What do you want me to say?
How about us putting their big man in a difficult position? I thought defending us was really challenging. Like, we just kept putting Mitchell Robinson and Cat on these drives in the first half, and it looked like they had no chance of it. They're whining for fouls. I don't think they could do anything about it.
They weren't fast enough. They had to foul us. That's all they could do.
All right.
Yeah, this is a Celtic issue. This isn't a Knicks thing.
Yeah, but they won. We could
talk.
We're gonna
that's what I say. I think these have all been Celtics meltdowns, not Knicks comebacks.
I thought last night was a true Knicks win.
That was going blow for blow. I would like to see what Tatum had for the finale. I would say
it would have just been nice to see because it was an incredible battle.
It was finally some shot making. The other games there was some just like specifically game 2.
Oh.
All right, what would that end up in the high 80s, low 90s? That was just ugly basketball. Where this was Brunson and Tatum just going shot for shot.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up this. Is there any predictions of the next game? We're We're going to be in Boston one more game. Is there any chance we're
What I
playing
think
another
is
game?
what I think is interesting. I mentioned it how throughout this whole season we've been favored throughout. Even when we were down 0-2, we were still just a sliver of a favorite to win the series. Now we are actual underdogs, and I think Missoula loves to talk about being an underdog, but since he's been a coach, like we really haven't been. I mean, even like the Miami series is like, well, we should have won that. Like we put ourselves in that hole, but now it was especially down 3-1 with Tatum being out. We were like actually underdogs, and I'm just interested if he's got anything in the tank here. I would like that we're at home to show some fight, but I mean, we were worse at home all year, and we saw what happened in those first two games. So hopefully Hauser can come back in. Just we're gonna need some bodies, but it's hard to look past the Tatum injury because it's not even he's done for the series or done for the year. Okay, long summer. It's no he's gone. He's gone, and it could make things look a lot different come October of next year.
Any interest in tanking next year?
I think that'd be really hard. A blow it up scenario.
I look. I'm just maybe we don't even have to tank that much. Look who just got the lottery pick.
It's all West. It's all West teams. Who's going to be good in the East next year? I think we could still compete. We wouldn't be nearly as big a favorite as we were the past 2 years, but I think with this team minus Tatum, that we could be in the mix. That's with Giannis even staying with the Bucks.
Yeah, he's
And
he's interesting.
rumors of if he goes to the West, okay, so the Bucks fall out. Interesting to see what happens with the Cavs. But let's say the Cavs, get back on track. Pacers are in the mix. Is Embiid going to play?
It doesn't matter.
If he does, all right.
Doesn't matter.
There's kind of some of that. So I think the knee jerk is okay. If you're not winning a championship, you have to tank all the way to the bottom. But we just saw in the lottery, just because you have a miserable year does not reward you with having a wonderful top pick. So we're never going to be able to do what we did with the Nets before, where we just get their bad pick and they're bad, and we'll just get that. But I think since they flattened the odds, we're going to be horribly bad, just miserable for our team to maybe hopefully get a top pick, where every year you don't have some generational talent. So I don't want to tank. I don't want to tank. We've done it in the past. I say, do whatever you have to do. We can get guys to come to Boston. We can build on this. Tatum's coming back. But I think the tanking route, I think we'd have to blow everything up. It'd be a mess. And then it's the worst. It's the worst. And I can't have the Celtics be tanking while the Patriots are also not good. It has to be one or the other.
But do you want the good news? There is good news.
Yes. What? All right, hit me with some good news. I haven't gotten any in a while.
You haven't gotten it. Why hasn't anyone brought this up? All right, so this team, right? It's all constructed with really good players, right? How many of them did we draft?
A decent chunk.
And so how have we drafted? We've done all right. I mean, for all we know, Shireman, one more year, especially if he has to play. For the Hauser thing is everyone has no problem just moving on from Hauser though. I don't know how he should feel about it or how I should feel about. We're gonna cut that. It's like really
that is just lazy.
Yeah,
that's just lazy. It's one white guy with another white guy, and they think that they're exactly the same, and they're just 3-point shooters, but they're different players. And what Hauser's been able to do should not be overlooked.
Well, the other thing is we're so far over the cap. It's like, well, we can afford this haircut. It's like, no, if we're gonna cut a big chunk, like why? That's not making the difference. That's just like the being more reliant on the guys that he had to play for most of the year, and I don't know if I like that. So. He's been written off as like there's no way we're going to be able to afford him next year, and then he's gone. I don't know if I love that. I think there's still a chance we could maybe work out a deal depending on if we have anything else of value here. But the good news is that I said this was a constructed team by Brad Stevens, and I think he's capable of constructing something else. We're so pleased with this construction. Like we don't ever have to tweak anything for this, but he can still construct something. I still think there's faith out there. This is the guy that somehow leveled up from Jordan Crawford to Isaiah Thomas to Kyrie Irving to adding free agents in all of this. Like this,
But that was Danny.
there's Brad. Brad was there for part
But
of it, and he's
but,
coaching.
but
And
Brad was for sure the Kristaps and Drew Holiday. So I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any credit. I'm just saying put credit where it's due. And I'm just interested to see as we're going through this where Danny was very much, hey, once you've lived out your usefulness, like we got to move on. This is a business, and it'll be interesting because that's tough to do, especially with guys that have been with the organization since they started.
I still think they're young enough that even Danny might have held on for this year. I don't think he would have blew it up this year. I think he would have had to run it back, and he would have ran it back.
And we just found out before this that that Tatum got the Achilles surgery, and it's middle of May, but we haven't heard of what the time frame is to come back. And obviously, they're going to have more information than we do, but I think that will also impact what sorts of moves are made.
How do you feel about maybe if the lottery was after the Celtics game, that there may have been a consequence for us getting the number one pick suddenly? Like, it seems like if you do something really terrible happens to your franchise, you suddenly get rewarded for the number one pick. Like, do you think the Tatum Achilles is enough of a reward for Cooper Flagg?
Well, we were not we did not have any picks in the lottery, so that was we had a 0% chance. So, and that is not how life works, and that is not how sports works. And the sooner that fans realize that, it's going to be the better.
So you don't think the lottery was rigged, that the Dallas Mavericks now have
Oh
the
my
first
goodness.
overall pick and are going in? What we've already said unanimously is going to be Cooper Flagg, and now we get to watch Nico Harris just play with all of our minds for who knows how long. He has to take the guy. I think this works out for Coop though. This wasn't a place I like circled. I didn't think it was a possibility, but basketball wise, this is a team that was in the finals last year. They have way too many bigs on this team, but they're at least like adults and playable players on this team. Like this is a decent roster that he's going to. It's much better than the true rebuilds of Washington or Charlotte or Portland or San Antonio might have been a little bit more sense, but they just got Wemby. I didn't want to do this back to back. That doesn't seem right either. Them even getting two seems fucking fishy. But what do you think? All right, this is the Dallas has got one. Is it all right? Coop's your guy. He's from Duke. Are you happy with the landing spot?
It's fine. He's an excellent player. He was going to be good wherever he landed. It's like besides the Nico stuff in the past couple of months, I don't think you'd ever be saying, "Oh man, Mavericks they're a mess." Mavericks similar, not exactly the same, but Kyrie Irving ACL a couple months ago, so he's unlikely to play. That's just my only concern is they have talent, but it might not be distributed in the right way, and just wondering who's going to be the guard that can set Coop up. He can, I think, in the future be a point forward and did do that for Duke a little bit, but I think to ask a rookie to do that, I think that is not a recipe for success, especially with a team where you have Anthony Davis. You would like to make the make the playoffs, but yeah, it's fine. But the NBA is rigged. It's so easy. It's a complaint. It's a fan complaint, and fan short for fanatics. But if you actually look into it, of all the things that would have to happen, you'd have to rig the lottery ball machine. That's probably the easiest part. I don't know how you do that, but okay, that's a mechanical thing to do that. But now, who is like the ringleader of this? Okay, it's Adam Silver who wants to make like the most money for the league. Okay, so he has to do like X, Y, Z. Okay, but he actually works for the governors. Well, I don't think the governors really want. There's competitiveness there, and then on top of this all, this isn't just Adam Silver and some of the governors or just general NBA people in the back. This is audited and done by Ernst & Young, the accounting firm. So if you think this is rigged, this means that one of the big four accounting firms is just knowingly committing fraud. Just blatant fraud. Like, you go to jail. This is millions of dollars. You don't just, well, it's just basketball. There's a multi-billion-dollar international sport, industry here. Just, this is the way it works. And you look at it and go, oh, well, 1.8%. Yes. Yep. That's at the lower end, but that's still a possible percentage. The odds of winning the lottery are what, 1 in 78 million, but people still win it. Infinitesimal odds, but this is how math works. I think the problem is just that a lot of people just don't understand how math works. That if you look at it, what is it? The two or the three top teams, what is it? It's like 14%.
Yeah, no,
It's something like that.
it's not.
So if you add all three of those together, let's even say it's 15%, just to make it easy. That means the odds that one of them is going to get the pick is 45% versus any other team is 55%. The three worst teams, like almost a coin flip right off the bat, right there. So yeah, anybody that is thinking it's rigged or it doesn't make any sense, and it's so easy to claim that and then just to build the narrative in. The Sixers win. You could just build the narrative right in. The
Cleveland.
Cleveland in the past. But if you look at it, you just fill whatever narrative in that you want. Let's say even Charlotte wins. Oh, I can't believe that Charlotte won. This is so rigged. They we're bad, and now they get Cooper Flagg, a Duke guy now playing in the same state. How could they make this let this happen? It's just a team is going to win. That's just how this works.
I think if you, I don't play the lottery, so like, but maybe if you were watching the lottery, getting the numbers every night, you would realize, maybe it was another 7 again. You believe it? Like that. I'm sure it happens. The idea that this is like a predictable result, when it's like, no, it's a wild result. It's a lottery. It's very
And
unpredictable.
They flattened the odds more recently to try to prevent tanking. I don't think it really has, but I am wondering if more of these results keep happening, if the governors will be less likely to say, all right, full on tank. If it's all right, let's give it a try. Let's not make this as painful as possible for our fans and try to put a team together. And sometimes it's not going to work. But like what Utah did of not, guys getting injuries that you've never heard of, making sure that if they were going to win, in the fourth quarter, coach is pulling the guys that are playing well, but put these guys on the end, like at least try.
So, do you think this has fixed tanking now that a team that was
No.
in a play-in game, like next year, there's still going to be 3 teams trying to race to the bottom?
Yep, I think so. Because even this was unusual, where 3 teams jumped up. So that means that Charlotte, Utah, and Washington moved to 4, 5, 6, but they still got top 6 picks. So if they hadn't tanked, maybe they're not getting a top 6 guaranteed pick. But I think there's still going to be teams tanking. I don't think this has solved the problem. I don't know if you have to flatten the odds more. I don't know if full overhaul is needed. But I mean, we were talking about this down the stretch in March, saying this is ridiculous. There are a few good games on, and then the rest of it is just, oh, well, this team cares, but these several teams are not interested in winning. So why am I going to watch the game if they don't care?
Do you think we should rig it? Highest bidder. How much does Coop go for?
How would you do that?
I have
just legitimately money.
I think legitimately money. I think how bad do you want it?
Where would the money go?
It should go to Cooper, but they won't. I didn't think it through. I'm just thinking like everyone wants.
That's interesting.
Everyone wants to act like
Because
this is rigged. Let's just straight up rig it. Let's just say, how much are you willing to pay for this? You want to risk it, sign them up for a contract? We can add tax consequences. We're seeing those add up now. The Celtics are over the second apron with $100-200 million tax just alone. Maybe you start rethinking certain things, and you're like, well, maybe we could jumpstart this, and maybe, or maybe you could sell the pick. I don't know. It goes to that team. It goes to the team that wanted it. They can either take the player, or they can sell it to the highest bidder. They could rig this, so the lottery goes the same, and now that they can literally sell the pick to the highest bidder.
I mean, it would take a while to implement, but this idea has been around for a while. But I've always thought that the best idea was the wheel.
Just straight up, this is random.
It's the wheel. I mean, the problem is that there are 30 teams, probably soon to be 32. So it's like in a lifetime, your team will get the first overall pick, twice, and you're really hoping that it's a it's a good year and not a bad year. But I think it's just the draft is just part of team building, and I just that seems to be the a fair way of everybody gets the same amount of picks, and it doesn't encourage tanking. Everyone should try to be as best as possible, as well as it doesn't reward you for being bad. If you make bad decisions in normal life, it gets worse. Like, you have to get better. But in sports, it's where you are subsidized and said, well, look, you just weren't that good. Well, we'll give you some good guys, and maybe you won't be bad at making your decisions.
It's hard. Some of these teams, the thing is, drafting is also hard. So they act like getting the first overall pick, yeah, it's a reward this year. It's not a reward every year. Some year it's punishing, where if you don't get it right, and I've already locked in Coop as like a sure thing. I think he's a sure thing. So, but there's a chance he's not, I guess, is what I'm saying, is that these are guaranteed drafts. So you do all the tanking, you get the first pick, and the guy doesn't pan out, you're just doing the same thing again next year, taking the same chance. You're praying on a lottery to then get a pick, to then take a chance on a guy that's not a sure thing. It's not easy, and it will compound all of this. So I think
it shouldn't be easy. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars to make these decisions. And that's kind of the whole thing, especially as there's more and more money, you're getting smarter and smarter people. There's more and more analytics.
Well,
so
that's why
I'm not going to do this. Woe is me. Oh no.
That's why you need to be encouraged that the Boston Celtics are run by a smart person, that Brad Stevens is going to figure this out. So today, the plan is ripped to shreds, but by next year, we will have a completely new plan. You'll be amazed at what he comes up with, and I would be shocked if we don't do anything. If anything, I'm excited for whatever moves he does next, because what in the past has been like, oh man, we moved on from Marcus Smart. That's a big one. I mean, you're still hurting over Neesmith. That one looks like it really was a loss now, but we had to do it, and we won the championship, and it was worth it. So get ready for whatever comes up
I was at
next.
the parade. You can't take that away. I am a world champion. I am defending world champion still.
And I will tell every other team this. If you are the Knicks, if you are Minnesota, if you are Cleveland, Indiana, all these teams with the opportunity to win a championship this year, you better take advantage of it, because the window can close quick. Tatum's out now. We're down 3-1. This is a new East all of a sudden, where Indiana's up 3-1, and Cleveland's probably heading home. Boston and Cleveland, who dominated the entire year, are probably heading home in the window.
60 plus win teams. And both of them, lose the first game at home, and then lose the second game at home.
Cleveland, like, I actually think the Celtics are still genuinely a better team.
And they got issues with Donovan Mitchell.
Cleveland's not a better team than Indiana. Even healthy. I don't think that there's just the way they are refereeing the playoffs, and the offense that you need to have, and the defensive versatility of Indiana. It's everything I thought Cleveland was coming in is suddenly now all Indiana. They're the better shooters. They have faster offense. They are better defensively. And they're, the ejection thing was silly. Should we mention that? I don't know.
Which one?
DeAndre Hunter and Benedict
Mathurin. It was weird. It didn't seem like much of a punch. They've had a history, and then Hunter just full on shoving Mathurin, and then there was even a technical on
Turner
on the Pacers for coming over and getting a little bump. But these flagrant versus technicals, Miles Turner, I'm blanking on the name, they are all over the place. It seems like there are one set of rules for most people, and then you have Draymond Green that is in a whole other category of rules for himself. And I'm pretty disappointed that afterwards, in this latest situation where Rudy Gobert was one to point this out, and then research was done that when Curry doesn't play, it is much more likely that Draymond is going to get ejected, tries to get ejected in this game, and the referees just will not do it. It's almost like your penalty is not that you get ejected, is that you have to play. And then afterwards, this is why I was disappointed. He's trying to make it into a race issue, that it's us in the media that are pointing out that, or trying to make him into an angry black man caricature. Dude, it wasn't that long ago that you were on indefinite suspension and had to go to league mandated anger management classes, because this is constant. The Dave Chappelle line. he is a habitual line stepper, and I just don't get how he gets the technical and then just berates the referees. Just berates the referees. You can see he's telling them that it's BS over and over and over again. And I'm watching more Celtics games than anything else, and I've seen Tatum get multiple technical fouls for clapping. And this is just like, oh, I don't get it. I don't get why the NBA just won't get their act together here. If this guy is gonna you berate referees, you have to eject him. Get him out. I know he's 2 away from with the flagrant and 2 away from the technicals. It's looking like without Curry, that's unfortunate with him having the hamstring issue. That I think that series could have been much more entertaining. Definitely in first game with Curry going down and then looking like Ant was also going to be hurt. Looked like a very exciting series. Was going to be really miserable, but luckily Ant is a superhuman and was able to keep playing. But yeah, I've been at the front of the Draymond's ridiculous and doesn't deserve all of these second chances trained for a while, but no one wants to listen.
It's been a weird officiating. I talked about how you drive to the basket, you're never going to get a call, but the historic or the vintage Karl Anthony Towns foul from 90 feet away after a rebound, we're blowing the whistle every time. Every time. They're so excited to do the clear path foul now too, where if you make a turnover, it's like, don't just put your hands in your pockets, because if you turn the ball over and the guy starts running for a fast break and you try to recover the ball like any instinctually a basketball player would do immediately, you're at such a severe penalty now. It really is like a new lesson that everyone has to just retrain their brain at. It's bizarre officiating though. I enjoy it though. I just wish more of the regular season was like this. Is there any chance we could get that? It got a little bit
It's
better.
got to be it's got to be uniform. The ups and downs. It has to be more uniform. It's hard to keep up with it.
Yeah, I even Brunson, I think, is the example. But all of his fouls that he gets, you would think they're closer to the basket. They're really not. They're all away from the basket. They're not, like a couple pump fakes underneath, sure, and those are good plays by him where he's already hit a three, and you got to play a little bit farther out, and he's going to go by you then. But it's the mid range stuff that those are where he gets his fouls. It's like there's a force field around the paint now, where it's like anything can go down there. It's just wildness.
It's much more physical, and I think that'll be better for the game to just allow the defense to just there is contact in basketball, but for it to just jump up this level in the playoffs, it just doesn't do certain teams, or it does certain teams a disservice that they're trying to play the way they're playing the regular season, and all of a sudden find out like, well, wait a minute. Like, this got me to the foul line 90% of the time during the regular season, and now only 25% of the time here. I can't make this adjustment this fast.
How about defensively, where I think we leave certain playoffs thinking like, wow, dude, these guys are amazing at defense. And then we come in next season, game one, and it's like, dude, this guy's always in foul trouble. You
can't even play.
Like, we almost have to remind ourselves that, don't worry, that guy that just fouls nonstop on opening night is going to be a key contributor in a playoff game later today. Like, that's crazy of that much of a shift, because I do think some of these guys would foul out if I ran the game back and I had the referees from day one referee the Celtics Knicks game last night. The guys would have been tossed. They would have been so pissed at the foul calling that it would have been an outrage. The game would have been incredibly slow. Both teams would have taken 50 free throws in the first half.
Done.
It is a different game, and I don't know how like there's so little priority in the regular season now with all of these games being lost at home. You just mentioned Cleveland and Boston losing both of their first two games at home. The Nuggets and Thunder is just taking blow after blow to each other here. Like, the home court does not seem like it seems like it's the lowest value it's ever been. And I don't know how you could do that when you put 82 games of value into that. Like maybe short.
I think it's just a small. I think it's just a small sample size.
I don't know. I think we're playing too many games, but we already know.
I mean, that's been the discussion for a while. But the governors aren't going to give up money.
No. Do you think? Well, I guess the Knicks are kind of the example of this. With the Celtics getting an injury here or there, and really only having like 6 guys, do you think there should be more said about having a deeper roster? Say like Indiana, OKC. I mean, Denver's kind of pulling this off with 6 guys too, but the Knicks are kind of doing it with 6 guys. So I guess that's kind of the example. But maybe they should just be forewarned that you lose one of these guys, and all these other teams are just loaded with 10 guys on the roster. Do you think we're going to see more spread out salaries? Is really what I'm going to say out of this question.
I mean, it is going to be interesting. They, came up with the second apron, and they did it like really quickly, where teams were constructed a certain way, and during the contract, where when they signed it, it was probably a good contract. I mean, I'm thinking of the Nuggets specifically, and then they make this rule change where it wasn't instant, but it's like, okay, next year we're doing it this way. And they're probably going around going, well, wait a minute here. Like, could we at least make this implemented in 4 years once all of the current contracts are over, so everyone's on the equal playing field? No, nope. We need to prevent owners from spending too much money, so we're going to do this now. And I think it's going to take a little while for the dust to settle and to figure out, hey, what's the best way to do this?
Well, the NBA's kind of had 2 big problems over the last 10 years. For a little bit there, it was players leaving and not wanting to stay and going other places to get the money, which even historically, if you want to look at the numbers, I don't think happened quite as much as you would think, but there was enough scenarios and enough storylines that
it's high profile for sure.
That it was enough to say that we're going to try to entice players to stay, and they entice these players so much with all these contracts, and then they implemented the second apron where there really is no bailout once you go over to all this. That it's like, all right, well, I don't want my guy to leave, and the only way I can get him to stay is if I give him more money than if he would have got if he left. And then I don't, and then I go over the apron and the tax, and I can only do certain trades that I can't really get out of any of this. So I don't know. Would you rather have the problem with players leaving, or the kind of the current problem now where you're stuck with them?
I think we're going to be constantly dealing with movement, where, especially now, where teams sell out. I mean, look at the Bucks. They sold out to support Giannis. They got the championship, and then they for sure had some injury misfortune. But then, you make some moves. Maybe they weren't the best moves, but, reasonable moves. But guys get older, and then you just kind of age out. And you were kind of put in that situation to do everything to keep Giannis there. That's almost now put you in the situation of him asking out. So I think we're going to see this more often of, you got a guy, you build around him. It is successful. You win a championship. Maybe you're close. And then it just subsides, and you recede back, he goes somewhere else, and I think we're just going to see that happening faster and faster.
All right, let's quickly go through some of these other games here. Let's just make some picks. So we don't need to do Celtics Knicks. That's fine. Let's do Pacers Indiana, Indiana Cleveland. They're down 3-1 Cleveland. They do have home court going the rest of the way out here, but this isn't looking good with the injuries added up. How many games do you think this series is going to go?
I think that the Pacers take care of it tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. Other game,
Donovan's going. He's going to start tonight, but it seems more of a, well, if we don't win this, the season's over. So let me give it a go more than, oh yeah, I took the time and now I'm ready.
This is one of those matchups where Cleveland is so good at one thing and it doesn't do anything to affect Indiana. Having all those bigs, having the presence in the paint to shut down guys defensively doesn't like, Indiana's unfazed by that. It's not good that they play kind of a wild offense, but it's just silly that would work so well against like the other teams. Like other teams in the playoffs right now would be struggling so much against Cleveland, and Indiana is just such a bad matchup. They have just really good shooters that are going to spread everyone out. I think the Knicks are going to have their hands full with the Pacers. I'm not quite willing to make predictions on that one. I think we'll have time next week to do it. But let's talk about a series that's actually tied in the Nuggets and Thunder. I don't know how the Nuggets are doing it. I don't know how they're doing it. I mentioned the 6 guys earlier. I don't even know if they have 4 guys. Like the Gordon rise of hitting the buzzer beater is probably going to historically remember him a little bit more in the Denver crowd over there. But I think OKC is just so much better in this team. Jokic hasn't even had a good game, and I guess if you're OKC, you should be nervous about that because there's only potentially 2 games left in this series. I don't know how the Nuggets have this 2-2. Is there any chance at all that they could still win this? Because I guess they got it to 2-2, but it feels like those were the only 2 they're capable of getting.
I think that the the Nuggets have been using magic for this entire playoffs, and just it's going to run out. And I just think that wild things have been happening, and sooner or later it's got to settle down. So I look at it, and it's just Vegas saying OKC is favored by double digits. Usually, when a team is favored by double digits, they win. That has not happened in the past, and past does not dictate future performance. But just saying, hey, yeah, and I think the Thunder are a better team. I think they're a more complete team, and that they're just going to get the job done. And I think they're going to do it in 6.
I think so too. I think Jokic just pushed this to the limit, to the point where I don't think he's even playing well anymore. He's riding he's on the gas pedal so much that the car is smoking, the engine's on fire, like things are falling off now. The wheels loose, like you can hear it, it's making a noise. Like the check engine light, the light's been on so long it just burned out. Like this is there are flaws with this team that they're gonna have to address over the offseason. But the fact that they've even gotten it to this and have like, I don't want to say this, but like, the wrong injury on OKC in Denver, I think is easily capable of winning this just because they've pushed it to this far and they have made it a 3-game series. A lot of credit to
Very
them.
impressed with how Aaron Gordon has stepped up this playoffs. I feel like he's stepped up to what you would have hoped that Michael Porter Jr. would be able to do, but he's got that huge shoulder
Yeah,
bandage situation
it's
going on. I don't even know what
man.
you.
It's got like
I
padding.
don't even
It's
know what you
strapped
call
tight.
it. So,
I don't know what's going on with that. It's
yeah. So I'll at least give him I'm not saying that he's not living up to the expectations, where there has been that issue in the past, but I mean, how many guys that they can say have a game-winning dunk and a game-winning 3 within a week and a half of each other?
I think those plays are going to be remembered so much in Denver that they're going to think that was the year they won. Like, I think in like 15 years, you'll be like, yeah, that was the year we won, right? Like Gordon was awesome, of course, like because he wasn't great every year. And it's like, no. The year he was like okay and like a nice role player and not a Robert Horry clutch guy. They won the championship. But the year he was the Robert Horry and hit 2 buzzer beaters, they were like not that good. Like this was a problem. They fired their coach. Like this team still doesn't have a coach. All right, last series, Warriors, Timberwolves, 3-1 Minnesota. Ant-Man just kind of takes over yesterday. Jimmy did his best the last game before to get up some shots, didn't get up a whole lot of shots last night, and yet this team was still kind of in it. I don't know why Minnesota can't put a team away, and maybe that's just where we're at in the playoffs. I'm watching the Celtics struggle with the same thing of just lingering. This team just lingers, and then suddenly they got a chance. The Curry injury is really a bummer, but I do just think without Curry, this Minnesota team is a lot better. But they're 3-1. Anything could happen. I'm hoping other things happen for other 3-1 series here. What are you thinking about this series? Is this over?
I think this is over. Curry's the engine that makes that whole team go. The whole thing's built around him, and you have to remember too, Jimmy is coming off of that fall, and I can't remember what they called it, but it was whatever like a really bad bruised hip is, but had a really nasty sounding name to it. So he's on the older side, nowhere near 100%. And the idea wasn't, hey, you lead this team. It was, hey, you come in, support Curry. And once Curry went down, that was the end. It's interesting now that Kuminga, they have to play him, and now it's losses, but I mean he's putting up stats. It's I don't know. It's
great
weird,
trade
but
value. We're gonna end up trading for him. This is what's gonna happen. Some sucker team that's desperate is gonna be like, well, we get Kuminga for this. And they're like, all right, I guess we'll take that. You couldn't do that like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, it's like, wait, you're calling about him? We didn't even play him. You want him? Like this now. I think the phone's gonna ring a little bit. He's at least done that. That'll be good for both parties. This relationship needs to end. All right, this isn't something that they're suddenly going to figure out. There's clearly a void between these two where it's killing Kerr to play him. You can see it. There's no joy in success of him, and he is ear to ear smiling anytime he has 30 points. So it's going to end, and he's lucky he got a few under his belt here. Now he's got a hope of getting somewhere.
Here's the interesting little wrinkle there is he is a restricted free agent next year or this offseason.
Sign and trade.
And we'll see.
Well, maybe they could sign him for the contract they want to trade for. Like,
Why
maybe
would
this is good
why would someone sign and trade for him when they could just sign him outright?
because they want to get rid of something. And this cap thing is insane. You can't just add
True.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to get rid of something before I add something. It really matters now. This isn't just baseball anymore. It's like, yeah, just add another zero. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. 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 All right. We'll throw this out there. And Warriors, do you want to match this? Oh, you don't? Excellent. We will take him.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of all that. The Kerr play, the minutes thing is starting to add up where there's more than one of these scenarios floating around there where it's like, I don't know, I really did like Kerr for a lot of decision making. There is a lot of winning, but there is like enough stuff adding up that's like, well, this all did kind of happen under his watch. The Draymond thing alone is we already did that earlier, but that's there's the locker room thing, the pool thing, there's the Tatum Olympic thing. Like, I just there are some suspect things adding up a little bit that maybe he isn't all that. Maybe there are some flaws, and maybe he should be looking in the mirror a little bit too. Anything else for the NBA out there?
I think that's plenty of NBA. I think that's plenty of basketball. I think I need a break. I think basketball, I need to take a break for a little bit because, like I said, it is beating me down recently.
Zach, you need to stop looking at it that way. You got to be a fan of basketball, not just a fan of the Celtics. This has been an incredible playoffs. The amount of games that are like mind blowing, and I know that some of the worst ones happened to us, but this has been an incredible playoffs. I have been
I don't have to do anything
to the TV on all of these games, being like, I can't believe this is happening. This is like not this. This is the farthest thing from chalk we could have got. I mean, even Denver is 2-2 with OKC right now. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Enjoy your Pacers Timberwolves final.
I'm fine with that. I love basketball. I don't care about the markets. All right, they got cool uniforms. I'm all right with that. Indiana's got a great crowd. Halliburton deserves some love. And it's much more than just him. There's other guys on the team. Ant-Man's bound to get one. It just seems impossible. He's going to at least make a finals. And I'm not going to be mad about anyone else that wins. I'm not even mad that the Knicks beat us. They at least play a good game of basketball. Like, I could respect that. There are teams in the past, like the Miami one, I could respect far less. That was a team that just they won the Monopoly game somehow and the lottery at the same time. It was a lot of luck. But the Knicks team's good. All right, NFL time?
Yes, anything else?
Oh my God.
I think I've lived this this enough. This is the second time I've had to do this in 2 months. This is the worst.
You gotta stop keeping track of that stuff. We won a championship last year.
Oh, keeping track of basketball games. You just said I'm supposed to be a fan, and then say, oh, well, don't keep track of if your team wins or loses. Just go about all carefree, just whatever. No, let's talk about Drake May and what he's up to.
If you were keeping track, how many wins and how many losses? It's like a ton of wins. It's so many good nights to one bad night. 2 bad nights.
A terrible, terrible, terrible night.
4 bad nights. It's the Celtics. Every game was a bad night. Even the game we won.
Terrible.
Even the game we won was a bad night because they did the same things and it just didn't work as well for the Knicks that one game. Like, all the second half stuff still happened.
It's just we got up by, like, the cushion was just big enough that time.
It felt like anytime they inched over 20, like, our superpowers would disappear and it would drop down to like 15, and they just couldn't get it under 10. And I swear, this would be a wrap right now if they'd got it under 10. We would have gone down 0-3 the next game in the New York, and yeah, it didn't even look good for that. All right, NFL. Derek Carr's retiring. We have
or is he?
Who wants him? Is there a possibility that maybe he has more value now being a retired free agent?
I don't think that he does. It seems like some weird stuff's happening there. I can see it going either way, where it just might be, hey, this is just off-season NFL stuff. Wait a minute, does he just want out from the Saints? Because it seems like he didn't really like the Saints. They didn't really like him. And I don't know how retirement works, but maybe it's just, I'm going to be retired for a year, recover. But it seems like just kind of throughout his career, he just had to deal with a whole lot of injuries, got really clobbered a bunch. So he just might be one of these guys that said, you know what, this football thing, some people have fun doing it. I did not have fun doing it. I got plenty of money. Let's keep this body intact, and I'm just done.
I can't imagine any scenario where Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints were going to have a good, successful relationship this year. This is going to be rough. Or even the best Derek Carr season wasn't going to be enough to help this team. Everybody should be happy that we're going our different ways, and I wish him the best of luck. I don't wish the team that he ends up signing with the best of luck, because you're in a rough spot if you're signing Derek Carr. Is all I'm saying. Other NFL news here. We do have an international schedule announcement, and we have a George Pickens has been traded to the Cowboys from the Steelers. Do the Steelers have a quarterback yet?
No, they well not like one you'd want to be starting week one.
So we're trading away. Maybe Pickens could have played quarterback. Are we sure we want to maybe try that before we sent him over to Dallas, or is this just a ticking time bomb that they have now shipped to Dallas? And we're like, nope, you can deal with that. That's going to go off soon.
Well, I think that you thought that George Pickens and Kenny Pickett were the same person for a while, so I that's not like maybe the worst idea to see if this wide receiver could play quarterback. Pretty athletic. But my concern for the Cowboys is flashy move for a skill position player. So everyone looks at it, goes, "Ooh, awesome, cool." But I think the Steelers just can constantly just pluck up good wide receivers in the draft, and they're really good at evaluating that talent. And usually when they are done with a wide receiver, it's because he's he's done. And maybe we've kind of seen some George Pickens seems a little wild, and it seemed like Antonio Brown was pretty buttoned up on the Steelers. And then once he left, things kind of went sideways for him. So I am interested to see if this was the Steelers saying we want out of the George Pickens game by any means necessary here.
If anyone could measure the Antonio Brown line of demarcation scale, it is the Pittsburgh Steelers, where it's like, oh nope, you've crossed this area now. You are no longer of value to us. We will move on from you. Is a fair argument and assessment of how Pittsburgh handles these sort of situations. I don't imagine it working out well for Dallas, or it will work out well, and then Dak will have a bad game, and then Pickens will be mad, and then someone will get injured, and then they'll blame it on that anyways. I'm not ready for football, but we do have some other stories here. The international schedule is
What
out.
about the international stuff?
Where are we going?
Yeah.
Where are we going this year?
Dude,
how early is it? Who's going?
I'm saying,
not watching these.
Well, one, you don't even know what they are, so how can you just say you're not going to watch them? Two, it's football. You're for sure going to watch them. But I'm saying 2025, this is going to be the beginning of the end. This is the NFL going too far, too many nights, taking over Christmas again, out of their normal schedule of events. And this is going to be when we look back and say, hey, how come football is not as popular as it used to be? And it's because, it used to be football was on Sundays and then a little bit on Monday. And it was like, it's a little bit on Monday, a little bit on Thursday. And now we're doing a little bit more. So starting off week one, Chiefs Chargers in Brazil. What day of the week do you think this is?
Day one? I don't know. Thursday?
Thursday will be, I think it's Cowboys versus the Eagles starting it off. No, this will be Friday. Friday in Brazil. The news out of this one that actually just came out earlier today, this will be broadcast on YouTube, not YouTube TV. I mean, I'm sure it will be on, on the platform because they're together, but it will be broadcast free on YouTube. So that's going to be the first time for that happening. But yeah, a little bit faster. We will be playing in Dublin, in London again. We'll have Rams Jaguars for London's team, Berlin, and week 11 will be Madrid. So all of those will be the 9:30 in the morning games. So if you were hoping, hey, maybe this year I'll have more time to spend with my family Sunday morning before football starts, you'd be incorrect.
Spend the time with your family at 9:30 in the morning. You do not need to watch these games. I'll be shocked if any of them have any relevance. All right, the only thing you got to remember, and this is it, the reminder starts now. It's the first time I'm going to say it. He's going to get excited. You got to get your fantasy lineup set up before then. That's it. That's all you got to do. Everything else can be checked later, but those guys got to be in or out of that lineup before that game starts. And if you're on the West Coast, oh boy, that 6:30 start, comes quick.
Better do it the night before and hope. Yeah, if you have any sort of, I'm not sure about it, probably want to lock in somebody else and not take the risk.
It's coming. You ready to talk football? It's going to be a lot of Drake May. Do we need to spend a Drake May minute every podcast now? Like, this is Tatum for 2 years now.
I don't know. I'm lucky that I'm making this trickle into F1 to just distract me from basketball and football.
Man, you really don't think it's been a good playoffs?
I don't know what for you was fun at all today.
What about every other game outside of our team? You're not entertained by any of the other games? They're just...
I'm not saying that I'm not entertained, but there's one, like, really big thing. It's like, oh, that meal wasn't good for you? Like, everything was delicious except for that one giant turd that was in the main dish. Like, can you just look past that?
I don't know. I think I've had a lot of main dishes, and they didn't have a lot of turds, all right? The last one had a turd, all right? Sure. But there's been a lot of good ones. I would still come back and watch. The turd thing wasn't supposed to happen, all right? If anything, we're responsible for it.
I'll be watching. I'll be watching tonight. I'll be watching going forward.
I'm excited still. I don't know what's going to happen, and that doesn't happen in the NBA. How many times is it just chalk? We should be excited with the underdog upset. It just sucks that we were finally the favorite, and now the underdogs are really thriving.
Yeah, the Lakers lost.
Sure. Warriors are heading home. Certainly feels like an end of an era for a lot of teams. Denver seems like this is going to be somewhat of a window closing for them. Unless I just don't know how they're going to pull off that miracle. Cleveland, once again, another playoff dud. We could pick on Boston all we want. Maybe we should pick on them a little bit. What are they doing? Like, what are they? Injuries? Is that it? We're gonna write it off all of that.
I think it's gonna be tough, but yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of movement, especially with some of these teams up at the top that do not necessarily need young talent with these high picks. I think it leads to some possible fireworks in the offseason.
Well, we'll be talking more NBA and more NFL. And Pete Rose is now eligible for the Hall of Fame. You want a baseball update in 10 seconds here? Did you know that?
Oh, I did not know that. That's interesting.
I just found out.
I wonder
today.
What changed there. Is it that every other ad for baseball, and not just baseball but sports, is for gambling sites?
Yeah, when they made the announcement, it was brought to you by FanDuel. All right, that's enough baseball for today. We'll be back next week. Remember to subscribe. Little column A, little column B. You can follow us on our Instagram, on our Facebook, and our YouTube page. You can also follow Zach on our X account, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
We'll be back next week with hopefully better news. The road to recovery, Zach, it has begun.
It starts today.
Little column A, little column B.